for March 12th, 2026. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, fire evacuation. The best exit is probably behind you. The other one is out this door, left and down the hall. And as a third one, just in case, you can go all the way down to the middle of the building and out the front door. Okay, could we have roll call, please?
Sure. Ken Helinski,
Here.
Kristen D'Antonio,
Here.
Linda Gray is here, Frank Alimo's absent, Joe Muley,
Here.
Terrence Lynch,
Here.
John Petronella is absent, Walter Crisell,
Here.
Rob Anderson,
Here.
and Laura Anderson is not here yet. Okay.
Okay, due to the two absences, I'm going to appoint Commissioner Kuzell and Commissioner Anderson as regular members for this evening. Approval of minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of February 26th. Are there any changes or additions to the minutes? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
One abstention.
One abstention? Okay, yes, okay. All right, town attorney report. Anyone have any issues with the town attorney report? Only a couple items on it. Okay, any discussion?
No.
Okay, moving on. Zoning enforcement officers report.
None.
Okay. Public participation. At this time, we would allow public participation, the public to come up and speak on any issue which is not on our agenda tonight. But if anyone wishes to speak, they can come up. Okay, thank
They're
you.
both applicants.
Yeah, I think there's no public here right now, so. Bond releases?
None.
Okay, continued public hearing. PH 3142MA. Could I have a motion to take it off the table?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. So we are now at the application for a zone change. Do you want to, we don't have to read it again, I don't think. Okay, Mr. Manarino, would you like to just come up? Okay, now this is the one where we're hearing the application for the zone change from MFHD to R44 for Manarino Builders. Applicant owner map 62, lot 319, MFHD zone, and we tabled it last time. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Manarino? Okay. Any staff comments?
There appeared to be no concerns about this application, and I would just refer to the original staff report for your action item.
Okay,
Okay, wait a minute. I will read a motion
okay.
as soon as I find it.
I just gave it to
No,
you.
you gave me the wrong one.
Okay, do we have to,
Here, I have it.
we have to close public hearing first?
Yes, we do, sorry.
All right, motion to close public hearing.
Second?
Oh, hold on, slow down.
I had a question, and I
Okay.
might just be reading something wrong.
Go
in the
ahead.
Memorandum, Lori. It had to do with setbacks. You had something in the memo here that,
For this application,
maybe not for the zone.
We're only on the first
we're
application.
only doing
Okay.
one at a
Oh, I guess when
time.
it gets
So
to
if
the
you want to
text
just hold, yeah.
I'm sorry.
You can
I
just
do
hold that
apologize.
until we get,
Okay, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
that's okay.
So again, motion to close public hearing. Second.
All in favor?
Aye. This is, hold on.
3142.
All right, it said 43 here.
Oh,
Wait a minute, no. I don't have a motion. It's, Lori, I need some
I
help.
don't have them.
Some guidance, please, on this motion.
that's the zone change, yeah.
But-
I don't have them printed out.
3142.
Right, all right. Oh, yeah, all right. But then the motion
The motion is on the back.
says 43 for the zone change. So that's why I'm confused.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
There's map amendment.
That's right. we're doing a map amendment, and
Okay.
I don't,
It should be MA.
it should be, okay, as long as it's correct. All right.
3142
right.
MA, right?
I'd like to make a motion to approve PH 3142 MA, Section 4.40.4, application for a map change for the multifamily housing district, MFHD, to residential 44. Help me again, Marino Builders.
Manarino.
Manarinos, I don't know why I can't remember that, I'm sorry. Inc., applicant owner, map 62, lot 319, 242 Brainerd Road, Enfield, Connecticut. Finding in making this decision, the commission has considered the town's current plan of conservation and finds that the application is consistent with the policies and goals and objectives. The reasons for the approval: a map amendment will allow for the consideration of an application for site development containing housing that will expand housing opportunities within Enfield. The factors considering in evaluating the map amendment applications have not changed any materials or substantial manner since approval in 2005 of a 42-unit residential development in the same location, nor the rezone from R44 to MFHD in April of 2023, effective pursuant to CGS 8-3D. The revised zoning map shall be effective 2 weeks after the legal ad is posted in the local newspaper, subject to the approval map amendment being posted with the Enfield Town Clerk prior to the effective date.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve this motion. Is there any discussion? Okay, could we have roll call, please?
Ken Helinski.
4.
Christian D'Antonio.
4.
Linda Graves, 4. Joe Muley.
4.
Terrence Lynch.
4.
Walter Curzel.
4.
And Rob Anderson.
4.
Did you see?
I did.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, next order of business is PH 3143ZA. Can I have a motion to take it off the table?
Motion to take it off the table.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. This is the application for the text amendment to modify the senior residential department regulation under section 440.4 of the Enfield, Connecticut zoning regulations, Manarino Builders, Inc. Do you have anything you'd
I
like to
did
say
have a
for
question,
this
because
one?
I don't have a copy of the motion.
Okay.
But there was something in here that said that as to whether the commission could use the special use permit to modify the setbacks for units, and in here it says it would not be permitted, but are we going to permit that a different way? I just want to make sure I understand that.
So all that was, you're talking about this one. So basically, they were saying, can we modify this with a special use because it's a special, and the answer is no.
Okay.
And we did not modify it.
So are we modifying it a different way, or we're just not modifying the?
No, they were, remember we were talking about, the part that was closer to the setback and the side yard setback, and they were thinking of maybe making that a shorter setback than the rest of it.
Correct.
So that's what that's referencing. That's it. Nothing has changed.
I guess I want to make sure I understand before you vote on it. There was a few units where we needed 35 feet pertaining to that instead of 50 feet. One of our text amendments, here, I go back to that.
Now you've confused me.
Sorry.
So.
Sorry about this.
So
last
you
minute.
you can't have both. You could either have the 20 feet or the 35 feet. So this makes it 20 feet.
20 feet, right, but there was the buffer setback, or like here, I've got it here, I'm sorry.
Where was that?
I apologize. Be no closer than 50 feet to the front and rear property lines, and no closer than 35 feet to a side property line. So we wanted to change it from 50 feet to an exterior lot line to a 35 feet. That was 4.40.1. Is it okay if I get up and just show this?
No, yeah, so it's written in the,
In the motion, that'll be okay?
it's written in the memo, and it says, "The proposed changes from SRD, section 4.40.1 are, minimum distance between dwelling units shall be 20 feet instead of 30. The next one is be no closer than 20 feet instead of 30 feet to other residential buildings, and the last one, be no closer than 50 feet to the front and rear property lines, and no closer than 35 feet to a side property line."
Okay, I just want to make sure.
So, yeah, that's that is the text amendment.
That already appears in the 3143 ZA that we talked about last time. If you
Yeah.
look at
Wanted to make
last,
sure I understood
Nothing
it
changed. It
before.
was just
I didn't wanna-
last meeting's copy has all
Yes,
of
I'm
that.
looking at that here.
You've got that, yeah,
I wanna make
okay.
sure
but
that's
you have the
Yeah,
same one.
nope, that's exactly
As
what
come
you
around the
proposed.
bend- As you come around the bend after the
Yeah.
cul-de-sac, there was a couple of units on the right, so that'll affect that to allow what we want, the 35
Right,
feet.
35
Okay,
feet.
Just wanted to make sure,
Yep.
thank you.
To the side property line.
The question was whether we do it for specific properties or just overall.
Gotcha,
So we're
okay.
saying we're going to do it overall.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
So it
Thank you.
covers.
Yes.
Okay, so
They're numbers.
do we have any comments from staff?
No, I really don't have anything other than what I've already said in the memo.
Okay, any comments or questions from the commission? Okay, there's,
Close the public hearing.
Second.
just a minute, I just want to make one statement. I just noticed there's no one here from the public who would want to
No one
speak.
here from the public.
Yeah, okay, so, all right, go ahead.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, we have a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve PH 3143ZA application for a text amendment with section 4.40.1 to allow the same similar setbacks between units and property lines as with section 4.70.6 MFHD findings. In adopting this regulation, the commission has considered the plan of conservation and development and the findings of the amendment to be consistent with the POCD in the areas such as the text amendment will allow greater opportunities for development for parcels with or without age restriction. Effective date published in newspaper on Saturday, February 21st, 2026, with an effective date of March 14th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Ken Helinski,
Four.
Christian D'Antonio,
Or
Linda DeGrace, 4. Joe Muley,
Four.
Terrence Lynch,
Four.
Walter Crizell,
4.
Rob Anderson.
4.
Okay,
Okay, motion passed.
motion passed.
All right, next item of business is PH 3144, 242 Brainerd Road, application for a site plan, special permit modification for large flexible multi-family housing to a senior residential housing development. Manorio Builders applicant owner, map 62, lot 319, MFHD zone.
Motion to
can I-
take it off the table.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to take the motion off the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Manorino, do you have any questions or comments on this particular one?
I do not.
Okay. Go ahead.
I do have a concern, and only because it's 55 plus, not that you want this to happen, but I don't like my neighbor, I'm gonna put a fence up. I babysit my grandchildren all day. I wanna put a playscape. Can we put that, no fences, no playscapes?
We already have no fences, no playscape.
Okay, I didn't read your whole
Oh,
contract.
it's no
Yeah.
problem. I did add in there, and I submitted to Lori about the no sheds, no accessory buildings.
All right.
Also from the last meeting.
Just a concern, because I have friends that babysit their grandchildren all day. The parents come pick them up, and
They're not allowed.
Okay, so is that in your
It's an
rules for
HOA
your
document?
building development?
You know, I want to go back through and look at it, but I'm pretty sure it's there. If not, it's easy to add, and if you made that a condition, that's very easy to add. Because
Okay.
we don't want it, and the other residents that are going to live there do not want it.
Right, I'm just thinking. Yeah,
Mr.
go ahead.
Chair,
Yep,
under our site-specific conditions for this round, I added the SRD may not contain accessory buildings, sheds, or detached garages. Would you like us to modify that and say fences as well?
Yeah,
fences and playscapes.
and playscapes.
You'd only be helping the association.
Well, I'm just
Fences
thinking
and
because,
playscapes.
you know,
Is that in our,
Okay.
to be able to do
And
that?
then just
And I
as I'm saying, we did add bump outs, decks, and lofts are permitted, and maximum building size footprint is 3,200 square feet. Is that an adequate size, Rob?
I mean, I think it is. I mean, of course, if we say 3,200, someone's going to want something that's 3,225. I mean, we are going to keep the chart.
We,
Running- the
if
running
if it's,
chart?
if it's significant, yeah. You're
Yeah.
gonna do the
So we're
running
gonna have
chart.
the Chart, and,
Yep.
you know, hopefully we can take care of that at the staff level,
Yeah.
not have to come in front of the
Okay.
board. I do appreciate the flexibility.
Yeah, go ahead,
Didn't we
Joe.
decide that the 20% coverage of the lot would dictate how big the house could be anyway? I thought that's what we decided.
I think we did say
We talked
that.
about
I
it, but we
never,
We did, but-
I know we
decided anything.
had considered, we talked about a maximum size, but I thought we decided that the lot size build-out would dictate how big a house they could build.
So
I
my,
didn't, that was my concern. I didn't think that should be part of the site-specific thing. They can't go over 20% of the lot size.
yeah,
Or their total running coverage, right? So,
I could understand that. However,
could
what
just
if
take
they
that
want to
one out.
build a 5,000 square foot one just because they could fit it in, and then you could get one that's
I
200 square
mean,
feet?
legally, he'd be in as, I mean, it wouldn't be in the
Yeah.
20%, have to be a pretty big parcel, but theoretically, if he's in that 20%, I mean, if he can get a 3,400 foot house in, I mean, why should we stop him?
I don't, you know.
I mean, I'm not saying that somebody wants
I would-
it,
I would
but,
send that, I mean, you can't take my word for it or what have you, but
Right.
someone who wanted that large of, I know it's an exaggeration, 5,000
Right.
square feet, they're just in the wrong community.
right, exactly.
We tell people you're in the wrong place.
But I mean, but if your square footage goes over, 3,250, I mean,
Yeah, and I.
you leave
doubt-
that in there, you're gonna have to lose 50 square feet somewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
After you already,
I- The changes they can make, you know, with the three-car garage, and we only
Yeah.
have a couple spots for the three-car garage, then there's a couple options, but after that, you can't go wider,
right,
and you can go a little bit deeper, but not much deeper.
right.
So.
That's what I'm saying, the
you know,
20% coverage it regulates what he can build. I don't think we should
It
have
is
that.
challenging when we do.
I don't think we
if
should
go
have
out-
that in there.
I mean, I do agree with you,
Okay.
Mr. Mew, that, you know, if we have something that's 3,210 square feet, you know, then staff has to make a decision.
Yeah.
You know, they have something in writing that says 3,200 square feet, they really can't go against that, you know, unless you give them the flexibility. So then it becomes, okay, how long do we wait to get a decision? Do I have to go in front of the board? You know, so
Yeah.
it is nice to have the flexibility. I don't know if you can give town staff flexibility. Some, you know, in some instances, I know staff does have flexibility, so.
My suggestion is if you want to strike that, we could strike that. Because in order for us to do the
They're bound by
flexibility, then we'd
20%
start
coverage.
debating over, is it, plus or minus 100 square feet, 300 square feet?
So at that
certain
point, then, what's
percentage.
the maximum 20% coverage? What's the largest lot? Or don't we know
Well,
yet?
there's no lots, so basically you have, we can have
Areas.
coverage of around 100, we had the numbers last time, about 126,000 square feet or something like that.
Yeah.
So we can't cover more than that. So if all of a sudden we get to a point where I can't build a house on a unit, or I'll call it a plot, because they're really not lots, they don't own the land, that's on me, you know, because we're gonna keep a running chart of what's going on. I don't expect that at all. I mean, our two top-selling models, one is 2,787 square feet, that's with the sunroom, not everyone does the sunroom, and then the other one is 2,400 and change. You know, so for them to get to 3,200, that's a lot, and then we won't be able to get, we won't be able to get there. I'm not seeing that. I just don't see us there. So if you wanted to keep the chart 3,200.
Well, I was just thinking you'd give you your options. I mean, if somebody wants to build a little bit smaller, then you have the option to go.
You want to be flexible. I mean, after
You want-
38 years
That's
in
what I
my
mean.
career of doing this,
Yeah.
flexible
Oh.
has gotten me to where I am.
No, I'm just looking out
yeah,
to
and I
not be
appreciate
risk. You know, if somebody says you can only build this, but yet your 20% cover would give you more, legally, you can go to 20, our regulations say you can cover
This comes down
20%.
to how can
so,
you give the flexibility to the staff?
You know, yeah, I mean, Lori can make
to-
a spot decision if you're, close to that
No.
20 or a tick over, but.
I don't see, we're not gonna go over, we're gonna follow that. We're
Yeah.
gonna be our own, we're gonna be our steward, and they're gonna be our check and balance. So,
I mean, I don't know how
Well,
everybody else
like I
feels,
said-
but I just feel it's kind of redundant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
mean,
I agree.
I agree.
Do we need a motion to take that off?
Well, I thought last time we had quite a discussion about the 3,200 versus.
Well, actually, I
other
think
side
it
of
was a little bit less than that. I actually rounded it up
Okay.
based on the discussion, but if you are so inclined as to just eliminate this site-specific condition, that's your prerogative.
I don't think we talked a maximum last time. We might
We
have talked
didn't. We
numbers.
tried.
So I did highlight maximum, but I'd have to go back to the minutes and really see if we said.
Yeah, I don't
okay,
think we talked the
3,200.
number. I think what we did is we said we would set a maximum and,
Did
figure
we
out
say we
what-
set a maximum?
I think that's
Okay.
what we said we would do.
Sure
But,
we did,
I mean,
not.
that doesn't mean we have
I
to
mean,
still do that.
You know, maybe you make the maximum 3,250, you know? And if I really have a problem with it and it's not an issue, I can always come, and, talk to Lori and see if it's worthy under public discussion to have an informal discussion with you or something. I don't want, you guys have been so generous to me, I don't want to, I'm not looking to beat that up. And I do appreciate that.
I'm just thinking, these people are downsizing. They're
Well, I know,
coming
but
from 3,000
Not really
square
down-
feet.
they're not
Some
really
are,
down-
and some
Well,
aren't.
not-
I mean, 22,000 square foot house would be a humongous jump up for me, but.
For me too, but I'm just saying is,
Exactly.
They want new construction
But I'm
and
just
they
saying,
want first floor
it
living.
seems like we're putting an extra handcuff on somebody that there's already regulation to cover it. So I don't think, it doesn't need to be in there. We're doing it twice.
Okay.
And part of the regulations are going to constrain this as well, because they've got to have the setback between the dwelling units and setback from the property lines and roads and
Yep.
so.
Like, you don't have a maximum square footage in your regulation, where other
Right.
towns under SRDs, they really restrict the size.
Yeah.
And I have to
It's just
fight
coverage.
for
Sure.
larger units.
Sure, yeah.
It's coverage.
So, if you wanted to, if you just wanted to, maybe you say a max of 3,300 square feet, and we just
I'd
end it
like to
there. I do not
eliminate it
see
all.
it being that
I'd like to
way.
take it right out.
Okay, that's fine with me,
How do
too.
we,
Okay, what's-
Well, you have.
Consensus?
it's
Yeah.
The
What's
consensus
everybody else
between the
think about it?
commissioners.
I'm good
You
taking
good
it
with
out.
it? You good, Rob?
number 11, site specific.
Okay, so
So I
take it
got
out.
1, 2,
Yeah, I'm good with it.
3, 4, 5.
I'm just thinking he's already got a maximum coverage that he can do.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have a chart.
enough.
And if somebody comes along and thinks they want a 4,000 square foot house before he's built out everything, he puts it in, that's it. He's done.
The only way that's happened is if it's on the second floor.
I'm just saying is, if somebody comes along and says that.
This is
Footprint.
for,
Yeah.
Remember, we're talking about footprint that
3140.
Right,
includes
I'm just
garage.
saying, you never know.
For 11.
You never know.
It'll probably happen. It'll probably
I'm
happen.
saying.
Someone will ask.
So, yep,
Someone will ask.
that's
yours
why
different
I
than mine?
asked about the
And I will
fence.
show up at Lori's door begging.
no, this is what I
The
got. Yeah, you must be
playscape
right.
and the fence, because
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you are all in agreement to eliminate number 11, maximum building size or footprint, and is 3,200 square feet. Just take that out.
Correct.
Number 11.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, any other, well, no, that's okay. It's a good point, actually.
That's, yeah. Even as I was writing it, I was kind of like, I think this is where they were going, kind of.
Okay,
That-
any
that
other
was-
discussion, questions? No one here from the public, so we can I have a motion to close
Motion to
the
close public hearing.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Right.
Okay, can we have
okay.
any discussion on the motion? Well, let's do the motion
These
first.
are the modifications.
Yeah, I got that. I got those. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you, though. Okay, I make a motion to approve PH 3144, 242 Brainerd Road, application for a site plan special permit modification for senior residential housing development, Marino Builders, applicant owner, map 62, lot 319, R44 zone with 33 conditions. And site-specific, number 9, the SDR may not contain accessory building sheds, detached garage, fences, or playscapes. And we are removing site-specific, number 11, maximum building size footprint is 32,000 square feet, 3,200 square feet.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Ken Helinski.
4.
Christian D'Antonio.
4.
Judy Gray, 4. Joe Muley.
4.
Terrence Lynch.
4.
Walter Krizel.
4.
Rob Anderson.
4.
Okay, very good,
Thank you
congratulations.
very much. If you don't mind, I would first like to thank Lori. I know this was a lot of work to put this all together so it made sense for everyone. And I wanted to thank the commission for being flexible and allowing us to move forward
Thank you.
Yeah.
with this. I really appreciate it. And I also appreciate the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Look
sir.
forward to seeing the development.
It's moving along,
It is moving.
so have a great evening.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is new public hearings, 5 Harris Street. I believe there's nothing for that tonight.
No, just an update. I contacted the architect, and they're trying to figure out what's happening with the plans for the
Okay.
architectural plans. So
Okay.
that was just yesterday. We finally got through to each other, so
Okay,
it's tabled for now, please.
okay, we'll leave it on the table. Actually, it isn't even on the table. I don't think we ever even discussed it, right? 11 old business, 83 FLD 48, 83 First Avenue. Anything
Still
on that?
lacking information.
Okay, still lacking information. Okay, moving on to new business, SBR 1963 7 Taylor Road. You're up.
Okay, SPR 1963, 7 Taylor Road, application for a change of use to veterinary office under section 5.20, Selective Development Companies, LLC, applicant, Skidco Professional Realty, owner, map 113, lot 347, BL zone.
Okay, could you state your name and address, please?
Hi, my name is Dana Warren from DKW Architecture, and my address is 270 Bellevue Avenue, Newport, Rhode Island.
Okay, thank you. All right, so you can go ahead and present your application.
Okay. I believe you have all the visuals, the maps, and the floor plan and the site plan. This building is an existing 5,000 square foot footprint building that had formerly been or was an accountant's office and currently is partially a therapist's office as a tenant of the current owner. And I am working with Selective Development in an effort to turn the building into a veterinary office, which is office and clinic, I believe, by your zoning regulation. That is not kenneling. It is not a veterinary hospital by your definition, which would be kenneling and overnight use. So specifically veterinary office. And the intention is simply to modify the floor plan on the interior of the building. As you see in your plans, I believe you have one that shows the indicated changes are very, very minor on the plan. And the exterior site of the building would remain as is at this present moment, with the exception of repairs and anything that would be needed for like new mechanical units, anything on the exterior that's already as is but may need some upgrading. And then restriping parking, which I believe there were comments from the fire marshal about just making sure that we have all of the notations correct and proper signage for parking. Being a veterinary use, and just to give you a quick note on my background, I've been an architect, I don't remember how many years now, since the 90s, but I've run a practice specializing in veterinary use for 26 years now. And so we commonly have to go for special use permits, not so much site plan approvals like this one, but special use permits. And a veterinary office is treated in the building code under business use. So it would be treated like an accountant's office or a lawyer's office, and it was already an accountant's office. So in terms of the use for building and typically zoning, it does typically fall into that lesser category, unlike human hospitals, which it is often confused with. In terms of health code and building code, we fall into the office use, not a medical use. Our intention is that, and I believe I provided some information in the packet about the concern for or potential for dog waste as people are walking their animals into the building, and we will put the little bag stations with signage, and it's your preference if you prefer to have them near the doorways or out along the perimeter of the property where people have potential to walk. This particular property was, in my experience of what I see in commercial, I believe it was well designed in terms of landscape during its day. It's one of the most treed properties in that little commercial strip right there. The plantings have done exceptionally well over these years, and I was just out there today when the snow finally melted last night, right? And the hostas are, a half an inch tall, and they're probably going to crawl back in the soil tonight when they feel how cold it is now. But we'll see what comes up in the plantings, and we've committed to make sure that the plantings are repaired if there's anything that doesn't look like the site plan you have now. And let's see. I believe that hits on our strong topics. The interior of the space, if you'd like me to walk through the use a little bit, I can do that too, but just let me know.
Can you just give us maybe a brief summary?
Sure. Typical day practice veterinary facility is exam rooms. So you start with the reception and an entryway, exam rooms, and in this example, I believe you have 6 exam rooms. And in this one, because of the layout of the building, we're able to separate them for dogs and cats, which makes people really happy. And then we have staff spaces, and we have pharmacy, which is, you go to the vet and they prescribe you an antibiotic or something, then you can pick it up right there. Then we transition into the back of the house, really, which is where the animals are treated out for something that's not in the exam rooms. And that has a treatment area, which has some tables that small animals would be on, or they treat them on the floor. And there would be what's called a lab, which is just they do their own blood work in-house. And then we have a small surgery suite, and that in a day practice in today's practices, that's typically spaying, neutering, small skin lesions, things like that. Most practices today, because of the prevalence of emergency and specialty surgical in other places, and there are quite a few in this radius here that are well known. So that's what the surgery suite would be for. And then we have a pack prep, it's called, outside of surgery, which is where they do their, cleaning of their surgical tools. We do have a radiology room, which is a digital radiology room. In today's standards, we rarely require even lead lining for those because the way the radiology has evolved. And we have utility space, for laundry, things like that. We have a dog ward and a cat ward, we call it. And I'm not sure if the plans have the word kennel on them, but that just simply means a piece of equipment, which is for a large dog, a cage for a large dog, and a cat room and a dog room in those ways. And then we have a dental table and a dental radiology, which is a wall-mounted unit. And in this particular building, it has existing second floor with independent egress. And so that can be used for their office spaces, which is just such a treat for most veterinary hospitals because they rarely have the space to have private offices and make phone calls. And there's a potential if our tenant does not want all of that space that we would lease out a portion of that. The building has a small partial basement, which is all mechanical basically, and a couple of presently empty rooms, but it would be utility.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Staff? Oh, Linda, you had a question?
I just have a question. I'm reading the hospital and office, 1 staff and 3 exam rooms, 15 staff and 3 exam rooms. How many vets are actually going to be there? Remember, you're on TV. People watch us. Tell us how many new vets we're going to get.
Oh, how many new vets? A typical veterinary day practice usually functions with one veterinarian for every 2 exam rooms. And so if this has 6 exam rooms, that would probably be 3 veterinarians.
Okay, no,
Yep.
that's what people want to know.
Yeah, yeah.
We finally got some vets in town, because the town pretty much they were non-existent. And we had one vet that was part-time, and people were having problems getting their animals. So having more vets is a plus, and it's on the other side of town, so that's
And our
great.
goal is that it's a great facility for the any veterinarian that is in the area. So yeah,
Right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? Okay, staff? Oh, I think he was, did you, I didn't, all right.
I don't have a whole lot. Stephen Heine, our assistant planner, did this memo for you. Just a quick overview, the signage will be post-approval. There's more than adequate parking based on the analysis. And then our only site-specific condition is any landscaping that is in poor condition or missing shall be supplemented by the applicant. And
Okay.
other than that, just a reminder that we started allowing this use in many of the zones, BL, BG, by site plan approval on 12/23/23. So it used to be grouped in with animal hospitals, which are 2 totally different things.
Okay, Walter?
So let me get this right. So are we, where is that page that's had there? Hold on a second. So is it 7 Taylor Road or is it 575 Hazard Ave? That's the confusing thing. It was 575 Hazard Ave. Now, how did it become 7 Taylor Road? And the frontage is actually
I
to Hazard
I
Ave, not
might
to
be
Taylor Road.
able to answer that I happened to have a conversation with the present building owner today, and he explained that building actually was one of the first on that entire property. And I noticed that on the original civil drawings, it didn't even have a lot number, right? And so I think as they, and again, I'm not reading any technical memos, I'm just offering some narrative on this, is that it sounded like eventually the property that has the large parking lot at the strip mall there, slowly that got developed and cut up. And this building does face 7 Taylor, but the way it's oriented, because of now that larger parking lot, what's the back of the building has become the main entry, and in terms of what it looks like and what on our plan. However, all 3 doors into the first, the second, and the third floor face 7 Taylor.
Just wanted to clarify it, because,
And it is a separate lot currently.
so it got subdivided from the.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that-
I
that
guess
makes
that's what
sense.
happened. It used to be
The
575.
numbers are all messed up on Taylor Road anyway, but that's another story.
Yeah, it's true. Across the street,
It's 1, 2, 3,
even
4, and the
numbers,
school's 5.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Okay, anyone else?
And I do have one question before you close, is as we proceed, because that site plan itself is the existing site plan from the original construction, as a licensed architect, I will sign and seal the interior architectural drawings for the building, and anything, if we have to modify the canopy to repair it, obviously that will be part of our architectural drawings. Is this existing survey as is that you have, do I need to do anything further on that, or is that, if we are approved, are we good with that drawing as is?
Can I answer that?
Yes.
At this point, you will get your approval or denial, as the case may be. And after that, you're going to be dealing with the building department, so you'll have to ask them what is adequate for them. The survey will be fine for them, but what they want inside, as far as, firewalls and things like that, that's going to
Absolutely.
be between you and them. And
Yes.
so we kind of get out of it at this point.
Right, okay. I'm just concerned about the site plan. I just want absolute clarity on that, that's all.
It's an A2 survey, it's good.
Good, excellent, very good.
Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead, Laura.
I just want to say thank you as a dog mom. Really appreciate this. And apologies for my tardiness. Charter Revision Commission will no longer conflict with these meetings. So thank you all for your patience with me, but this looks really good. I had a great time reading all this over, so
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Thank you all for being here to hear this.
Okay.
By the way, I also appreciate it being a dog mom of 4 very large dogs.
Yeah,
Okay,
excellent, yeah.
there's no other discussion. Can we have the motion?
Motion to close public hearing?
This isn't a
It's not a public hearing, it's a site plan review.
Motion to approve SPR 1963, 77, yes, 70. See, you got me all confused about Taylor Road. 7 Taylor Road, applicant, no, it's not. Application for a change of use to a veterinary office under section 5.20. Selective Development Companies LLC, applicant, Skidco Professional Realty, owner, map 113, lot 347, BL zone, with the following 21 conditions, with one site-specific condition. Any landscaping that is in poor condition or missing shall be supplemented by the applicant according to the landscape plan.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, could we have roll call, please?
Ken Helinski,
4.
Christian D'Antonio.
4.
Linda DeGrace, 4. Joe Muley.
4.
Terrence Lynch.
4.
Walter Frizzell.
4.
Rob Anderson.
4.
All right.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for bringing more vets to us.
You're welcome. I look forward to it. I always love, as a small business, I always love building more small businesses. So. We aren't sure yet. Yeah. So if you know anybody interested in throwing their hat in, what is the timing of the appeal process, or is that you would?
15 days from the date of notice in the
Okay.
paper,
Excellent. Thank you.
which, by the way, should
Okay.
be Saturday. It should be in the paper on Saturday.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Okay, next item is
Sorry
item
about
13.
just a second. It may not be because we may not make the deadline because we're short-staffed, but otherwise it'll be on Sunday or Monday.
It's not months and months.
No. Okay, item 13, other business? 14, commissioners' correspondence. Anyone have anything? Chris?
Yeah, I'll just share real briefly some small things, some things that came up in the Regional Planning Commission meeting on 3/5. There was a good presentation. Lori was there. Steve was there about PA 25-1. They had a slide deck too. I'll send the slide deck out. But it was a good 45-minute training, 45-minute training. But as far as their updates, they will be coming out with warehousing best practices. So that'll be interesting to see. They have more housing workshops coming this year. They wanted everybody to know there's brownfield funding available, which we get a lot of emails on too. And something of note I saw with the other towns, I know it's kind of come up in discussion here regarding smoke shops. Actually, at the last meeting, they had 2 towns, well, municipalities that actually proposed moratoriums on smoke shops, East Hartford and Hartford. CROG found no issues with that from their end. So I know it's been a topic that's come up before, so I guess there is some precedent to it in the region if that's something we wanted to bring up. But yeah, that's all.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, moving on. Number 15, Director of Planning report.
So, you can just take one and pass it. So, I had an applicant Sorry, let me get back to the mic. I had an applicant come in inquiring about the possibility of a text amendment that would allow motor vehicle repair and possibly body shop repair in the industrial zone. Right now, it's permitted in the business general under a special permit and business regional shopping with motor vehicle, by special permit. And in the industrial 2 zone, which if you've ever seen our zoning map is like the very few teeny tiny little blue areas, what they would like to do is either, they would be fine with doing something as an accessory to a development so they could work on their vehicles without sending them out. So they would like that at least, but they thought that it might be wise to suggest having it just, as a special permit through the industrial zones. So I said, let me get their the pulse on it. What are you feeling? Do you think that it's something that we should permit? And I'm just looking for kind of a general thought at this point.
Is it heavy trucking automotive, or is it cars and smaller vehicles?
So Martin Brower actually somehow got grandfathered in to have a fix-it shop, shall I say, a repair shop on their property, but that's not generally allowed. So the question is, would you be open to having the automotive repair shops in the industrial zone as a standalone? Or would you be open to having it as an accessory and part of a development, an industrial development, so they could work on their own vehicles? Or would you not like it at all?
Go ahead,
I
Linda.
think it makes sense that if you have like a Martin Brower, where you have so many trucks going in and out, to have that repair shop on site, because now they don't have to have 2 employees go off-site, one in a car, one in the truck, taking it to get it fixed, and losing X number of hours of time during their workday. And I'm sure the employees enjoy, having some downtime, but I'm just thinking that part would make sense, but to just have a repair shop, just to have a repair shop, like a car repair shop? No offense, Rob. I don't see that. I mean, we have is it Kenworth? That's down here on Depot Hill? Yeah, Tri-State. They do big tractor-trailer repairs. But Martin Brower has such a big fleet, and we have some large industries now, large warehouses, where they might find that more beneficial than trying to swap out cabs all the time. So that part I wouldn't mind, but I don't want to see little car shops popping up here and there in the industrial zone, because
So
that's
you'd
not
like-
what it's there for.
So you'd like to see it as an accessory to
As an
a
accessory,
development?
not a standalone.
Okay, thank you.
Chris had something first.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would be fine as standalone. I mean, I think it'd be better than, honestly, in our busy commercial corridors, especially where more mixed use and more housing can potentially come in the future. So, I mean, motor vehicle repair, not super conducive to that. I mean, I don't see, I mean, I think it makes sense in industrial. So I'd be open to allowing it as a primary use in industrial.
Okay, Walter?
All right, so put this in layman's terms. A company owns a business and has a fleet of trucks, and they want to repair their own trucks. That should be okay.
Okay.
But somebody wants to move into a building and start a repair shop that brings in customers' cars and repairs, that should be not okay. Is that what we're saying, or?
Well,
Doesn't have to be.
It
Well, I
depends
think
on who
we're
you're
asking,
listening
we're
to.
asking,
That's what we're
would it be
discussing.
okay, I think.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, being a business owner, I fixed my trucks all the time. So was I doing it legal or illegal? I'm not the business owner anymore.
I don't know
so-
where you work.
So, that's what I mean. So, are you telling a company that they can't fix their own vehicles? I mean,
Well, I think, it's not just a matter of, changing windshield wipers. It's a matter of, if they've got some, real auto repair that needs to be done.
I change motors and
Or
transmissions.
truck
so, I
repair.
mean,
So,
but to have somebody open a business that brings in cars from another customer, I don't think we don't need that in an industrial zone. I don't believe.
but either way, none of these uses are currently permitted in the industrial zone as accessory or otherwise. So the question is, would you be open to any of it? And if so, what?
Like I explained, but go ahead. Somebody else.
Okay, Rob?
Well, first, I would definitely separate garages and body shops because they're two completely different things when it comes to businesses. If a place like Martin Brower wanted to have a separate shop to do repairs, on the surface that seems okay, but is that all of a sudden going to become the hub for all of their repairs, for all of their trucks, even the ones that are not located in this area? So they're gonna, all of a sudden, we got a whole bunch of trucks coming in to be repaired. You got to deal with all the EPA stuff. Then do you start accumulating dead trucks and spare parts, and now you're turning into a junkyard because you got so much stuff. I would be very hesitant to do that, and I would be against body shops or repair shops in the industrial zone as a standalone business for customers. So I guess I would be against it, but I might be okay with a Martin Brower type thing where they fix their vehicles as long as it's in its own area and there's checks and balances so it doesn't get out of hand.
So in other words, they would only be permitted to work on their own trucks and not
Correct.
other.
Correct, and
other
no body work.
Trucks coming in, yeah, okay.
Okay, Laura?
Yeah, I think what Rob said is totally reasonable. Which I don't know if we actually agree on anything, so that's amazing. But I'll say, I think an accessory repairing your own trucks is like a perfectly reasonable thing. I think standalone, depending upon what your business is, that's something I'd like to see, if other towns or other areas that are similar do something like that. And if we do something like we do with, say, like liquor stores, for example, where we say there's a certain number that you can have, like I imagine, right, like most of the traffic breakdowns and most of our challenges happen where there is traffic, which is like here, right? And so ideally that's where I would like my repair shops. And so I'd be interested in a little more research about what other folks do before we make a final decision. But I don't think it's reasonable to tell people they can't repair their own things on their own property.
Okay. Thank you.
Terrence?
Yeah, I think the accessory use is fine for any business that has their own equipment to be able to fix it. But I also take a look at it and say, if you have the industrial zone and warehouses, what's wrong with an independent person putting in a truck repair shop that can service all of them if they don't have it? I'm not saying you can have car repairs. You got auto dealers in any kind of zone. You got car dealers that are doing auto repairs anyway. There's very few small garages around anyhow. So if you're going to have a small garage that does repairs and has 10 mechanics, so they need a lot of space. Is the industrial zone the right place for them? I don't know. But it's better than on the corner across the street here. So you gotta take a look at it, I think. But as an accessory use, absolutely, they should be able to do it. But I think, when I think about it, I think as a place to start a business, is to run a business for truck repair that has huge trucks and needs repair. If they're gonna build a nice repair shop for the trucks, why not? The trucks are there anyway. That's all.
Okay, what I'm hearing is that accessories seem to be okay for most of us. The standalone might be okay, but I think the underlying thing is, how do we control all this? You know, the control, if we have enough regulations or rules or whatever we want to call them in place where they can only be a certain size, they can only do certain work, I think we could allow either accessory or standalone. The idea is not for it to get out of hand, I think.
I have a question for
ahead.
Rob, because he kind of knows this. Would the parameters of such a garage, they have to, wouldn't that be all under a K7 or, I don't know what, maybe for trucks it's different than a K7, but doesn't the state regulate all of the parameters of what the site can be? It can't have this, it can't do that, it has to do that. I know body shops have certain things that they have to have.
They would have something you need to meet these to open up, but after that, who checks?
Okay, all right, thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
I have a question, and maybe Rob, you can answer this. So we allow motor vehicle repair. Does that include trucks, truck cabs?
It's a motor vehicle.
Okay, I'm just wondering
Sounds like
because you never know what's out there in like state statutes. Whether
Yeah.
motor vehicle includes anything with an engine.
I would
or-
consider a trailer to be part of that.
Okay. Good. Okay. So that clears it up. So that way we're not looking at separate things. Just working on cars and vans versus trucks or small trucks or box
they have
trucks or
different
something like
tools.
that.
Yeah, and when you're talking about semis and stuff like that, they're massive places. They're not small, not
Yeah.
small at all. I mean, if you've ever been over to Tri-State Diesel, that place is huge. But that's another story.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, so I think you have enough direction,
Joe, did you have any comment?
Well,
Sorry, didn't mean to put you on the
no,
spot.
I just, where I used to work, we had our own mechanic shop there for working on all our trucks and stuff. It's actually, for what we were, it was a pretty good building. You get a tractor trailer and 2 straight trucks in there at the same time. So I think for businesses to be able to, maintain their own fleets, I think would make a lot of sense. Standalones, I want to say I'd be willing to entertain the idea. I guess we would have to see what would be brought in front of us. But Rob brought up a good point. You don't want it to turn into a junk collector either. So you'd have to have some kind of limit on what they could keep stored there for a number of vehicles. Because you're right, people tend to say, well, they scrap and they buy it and they'll just take parts off it and it could sit there, and then next thing you got another one and another one.
yeah.
And
That's a very
Yeah.
good point. Oh,
but yeah,
I can tell you that's what I would do.
that's what my company did until they got out of control, and then scrapyard came in and took half of them away.
All right, well, I'll, with your blessing, I'll relay this to the applicant
Yeah,
and let them do what they want to do. They could propose what,
Yeah, or come in for an informal discussion.
yeah,
could do that, too.
okay.
Okay, anything else in the director's
What
report?
else do I got? All right, I've got to find my agenda. Here it is. Those are all my notes. Okay, that. We have no new applications, so the next meeting, we may have a couple things. We might have Harris Street. I doubt we're gonna have the flood. So I'm thinking maybe we could do some discussion on some quick fixes possibly, maybe do a little workshop on our own. And a reminder that our next meeting is on Wednesday, March 25th. Right?
Yep,
And
I think
then
we all
a
know that.
number of you are going to the Connecticut Federation of Planning and Zoning Agency thing on March 26th, which is the Thursday.
Yep.
So. if-
Okay,
And
So-
then I just wanted to let you know that we hired a young gentleman, Jeffrey Aragoni. He's going to start April 6th as the new assistant town planner.
Oh,
very good.
He's
Fantastic.
was schooled in New Hampshire College. He's from Connecticut. He's worked as an intern for a very big consultant company in the state, and so he had some really good classes and stuff. So I think he'll work out well.
Sounds good.
I hope so.
Walter, go ahead.
The subcommittee, trucking subcommittee, are we?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I want to do is talk about, I was also talking to Maria about Maria Elston, our last senior assistant town attorney. She's going to come back and do some land use training. Look at Linda, she's like, yes, we're going to get trained. We're looking at April 15th. We just came up with that date today, so just, I'll be sending out an email seeing if anybody, see how many of the land use commissioners can make that date. So, but just kind of put that on your calendar possibly. But also, we need to get back on track with our zoning regulations, so.
where's our
Yes.
badges?
I'm still, there seems to be a little glitch, so I'm trying to work on it. So,
Put the new guy in charge.
The new guy, yeah. Send him off.
yeah, so I am definitely trying to work on it. And I think that's all I have.
Okay, and no administrative approvals?
No administrative approvals.
Okay, you said there's no applications. Opportunities, unresolved issues?
There's probably all sorts of them, but none that I have.
No executive session.
Motion to adjourn at 8:04.
All in favor? Aye.